I went to the Tate Modern today, first time. Watched it being built. Took years. But anyway, here's the view from the very top. Pretty amazing view. There's St Paul's Cathedral in the middle. And this is when you arrive, you find yourself in this huge kind of aircraft hangar. It's just bizarre. I mean, such a waste of space in the centre of London. This was one of the exhibits that I really liked. It's a stack of radios. We'll come back to it in a minute. Because these are the cropped and prepared photos. This was the view from one of the bars. And this is the view of the City of London. There's the walkie-talkie that they say should never have been built because it ruins the view. It does, I agree. And this was my lunchtime pint of cider at Doggett's before going to the Tate. Very nearby. It's a very nice pub right next to the Tate. So here we are downstairs, and this is just a photograph of how you kind of look across the river, which is rather amazing. This is a sign I thought was interesting. Content warning. This display contains very explicit images, and it said your discretion is advised, but it didn't actually tell you anything more than the images, apart from that they were explicit, which is incredibly vague. So quite how you're supposed to use discretion when they've used such a vague term is interesting. This was the view when I came out. Just the nice reflection there slicing in at an angle over the shop window there because of the different triangular angles of the building. And this was a model of the building made by the architects. So you've got those angles there. In fact, the shop is just about there. That's about where we were looking. We were sort of looking in a leftward direction. We were standing like on that red bit there, looking towards the orange bit, in that sort of angle. It's just delicious. You want to eat it, don't you? It's like fruit sweets. That was my reflection in a window. And when you get into the gallery, you see this escalator, which you can't get to. I mean, it's the most bizarre building. The first thing you're presented with is an escalator that you can't kind of get to. This photo I thought was interesting because it looks like he's not on an escalator. It looks like he's actually standing by the glass. And I thought I would send that to one of my friends. We're having a discussion about perception. Here's the handrail on the staircase, which is horrible. It's wood, but it's got a kind of groove down it, so all the muck can fall in. And it's painted black. And I think because it's painted, because it's enclosed, because it's mucky, because it's not really fully cleanable, because air can't circulate around it, it's sort of you're putting your hand into something almost. I didn't see one single person put their hand on that handrail. It feels unhygienic and horrible. Here we are getting in the aircraft carrier. After my visit. You could fit a Boeing 747 in here. Maybe not the wings, but you could fit. This was a rather beautiful staircase. We'll zoom in on it a bit because that was a panoramic photo. It's like a big giant question mark. And all the concrete, look how much concrete there is. Just on this level in particular, I didn't photograph it, but there's so much concrete. And when I was going up the stairs, I was actually couldn't help just touching the walls because they were such smooth, perfect concrete. This is a view from near the top, looking down at an angle. Here we're going to have a look at the view from the very top again. There's the Oxo Tower, which doesn't say Oxo anymore. There's the City of London, of course. And there's St Paul's. And we can go all the way over. You can almost look down there. See that view? Yeah, the view I took. And we can see as far as the post office tower there. Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing view. Let's go to the next one. Another amazing view. Similar. Just wanted to get the boat in it. And this was like skyscrapers popping out the top of skyscrapers. Again, we're at the very top here, and this is like a strange scaffolding fountain thing, which I hate. Just looking down between some buildings at the park there. See how high up we are. And on this top viewing level, all you can do is walk around the very edge of the building. There isn't really anything else there apart from the viewing. And there's, of course, the Shard. And a great view here. Okay. The staircase, as I said, it almost looks like cardboard, but it's actually beautiful concrete, beautiful smooth concrete surfaces covered with wood. And when you get to this near the top, you've got all these wonderful Swiss cheese plants pressing against the sort of what do you call it? Ground glass. I can't think what you call this glass where you cannot quite see through it. This is the view from the bridge that connects the two buildings that make up the Tate Gallery. And these people, they look like tiny little painted action figures, like little plastic figures fixed in positions. They're so small. Got some other pictures in the bar. These two got out of my way later when they realised I was photographing, but actually, isn't that great? Very photogenic area. Now, this was my favourite exhibit of all. A stack of radios, and I posed with it like this, to make it look like I'm touching it. Of course I'm not. It's an enormous great tower made of radios, and you can hear lots of them doing that kind of noises, and there's music coming and stuff. I was a bit disappointed when I could see between the radios that it is hollow inside. It shouldn't be. It should be a solid stack, because it's not. It's disingenuous art. And also, I believe there were speakers in the middle of it playing the soundtrack, so I felt the whole thing was a complete sham. But the radios themselves were really beautiful. They're so beautiful. Look, oh, they're just gorgeous. Those lovely glowing displays and all that wood and bakelite. They're just gorgeous. Gorgeous. Takes me back. That was my favourite, with its big red lights in it. Very sort of 1980s, trying to look modern radio. Early 80s, perhaps late 70s. So where did we get to? And there's a nice shot of it with three people looking up at it. This is an enormous painting. The only reason I took a photo was really because I didn't have time to look at it. It's a painting of some skiers on a mountainside. I know it's a bit hard to see that that's what it is. Even when you're there, it's hard to see that that's what it is. I just rather liked it. Kind of looks like wallpaper peeling off a wall. And this also was an amazing, interesting artist. I have to say, a lot of what was in the Tate was absolute, utter crud. Absolute crap. Most of it actually was, and a lot of it was too political for my taste. This is quite sort of political, but I like it. What they've done is they've taken newspaper photographs and they've put on their heads of the people, they've put animal heads and things. They've changed them so look, these are mice, and then we've got all the cats there for the police. I thought that was amazing. I've got these Donnie Darko rabbit ears. This was really astonishing stuff. I love this. I mean, again, this is like the problem with modern art. It's a one-trick pony. So he's done it. He's done animal heads. No, he does another animal head. No, he does another animal head on another picture. And next year he does another animal heads on another. It's the one-trick pony thing. But I still like it. And they're actually quite beautiful, colour-wise. Picture of some photographs with someone taking... Well, this is a photograph of someone taking a photograph of some photographs, so I thought that was good. Sometimes the people in the gallery make for more interesting pictures than the actual pictures themselves, and this one certainly did. This is enormous. She's standing quite a way back from it. It's a... it looks like a sort of... from at first glance, it just kind of looks like a... like a town scene or something. Sort of pleasurable daily life scene. And the more you look into it, the more you realise it's just full of horror and nastiness. And deprivation, poverty, death, destruction, sorrow, and violence. It's really... And yet, when you just glance it, you feel like it's going to be nice. So they've used the style of like a children's kind of book illustration or something like that. Sort of Kit Williams kind of almost slightly expressionistic style. Expressionistic, hyper-realistic, but expressionistic style. It's really interesting. This I loved. It's like this white helmet stuck to the canvas, and then you've got this shape of this woman, and it's peeling open with a zip, as if the canvas has been zipped open to reveal what looks like very realistic body inside. I've got a feeling that body was sort of three-dimensional, but everything else was flat apart from the helmet. So it's like you're opening up and looking inside, but actually that's three-dimensional. It's outside. Really weird. But I liked the colours as well. I liked this kind of ivory colour. Something amazing about that. Like space. Here we are back at that. This was a good picture. See, she stops to look in her bag and she makes the picture. This is what happens if you take a panoramic photo of an escalator while you're going up it, of the people going down the other way. They get mangled like in a turn when the teleporter goes wrong. That's a rubbish photo. And then I took some photographs of some paintings that I thought would help inform my discussion with my friend about perception. And in particular, I chose paintings that were ambiguous, as to say they could be many different shapes in reality. If this is a painting of something that's three-dimensional, the original three-dimensional shape could be one of many, many different possibilities. And because these are not shapes you're used to seeing, two or three-dimensionally, you don't know how to decode these into what the three-dimensional shape would be. Right, I don't know if that's making sense. So this was the first one I took, just to show the limits of perception. What shape is this? What shape is the 3D object that this is a painting of? And you can't say, because it's hard to know what's a shadow, what's a pale surface, what's a space, what's just painted blue as opposed to being blue sky seen through, etc., etc., etc. So the limits of perception. And there we have it, my Tate Modern tour. There was some Joseph Beuys, which I didn't bother to photograph. I've seen his work before. Doesn't do a lot for me. I did enjoy some of his work at the Tate once. But yeah, just a load of boulders lying there in the gallery, kind of feels really old hat now. There was a Picasso as well, really oddly, sitting just around a little corner on its own was this Picasso. Well, not on its own, but like tucked round the corner in a big gallery room, as if it was just something on the side there. It was really odd. And there was also that wonderful futurist sculpture, which I don't know who it's by, but it's like a running figure reaching forward and running. It's made out of sort of bronze. You'd know it if you saw it, but that was the Tate Modern.